Ready. Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to Author Spotlight, where we get to know the author and support the author. Today we have Terrye Hicks, and let me give you a little bit more information about her. Terrye Y. Hicks is an entrepreneur and creative, as well as a licensed and ordained minister of the gospel. She is the founder and president of Will Call Learning Center, a Christ-centered performing arts homeschool program for K through 12th grades. She is passionate about meeting students on their academic levels and helping them to achieve measures of success they never thought were possible by tapping into and applying their potential. In addition to being an educator for nearly 18 years, she is also an actress, model, writer, director, and producer, and uses these God-given abilities to inspire others through the arts. She is the founder of the Worship Factor Productions, LLC, a theatrical production company. She recently wrote, produced, and directed the major stage play, Deliver Me from Delilah. She is the author of When the Vision Dies, co-author of the soon-to-be released anthology, The Audacity to Be Empowered, and contributing writer for We Queens magazine. She also has the honor of being co-host and executive producer of the Empowered Mornings Show, which streams live on Facebook and YouTube weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In this same vein, she serves as executive producer and creative director for We Empower Network, WEN, a brand new media network of shows, live stream broadcasts, and podcasts centered around empowering others spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially. She is also the CEO of Vision Now, a booking management and consulting company for creatives, pastors, preachers, authors, and influencers. As an entrepreneur and creative strategist, she knows full well the value of vision and all that comes with the responsibility of being a visionary. Additionally, she is a certified mental health coach and certified professional life coach and works to provide encouragement and practical tools for application to students, creatives, and visionaries. I want to welcome Terrye Hicks as we learn more about your book. Whew, you are definitely accomplished. Thank you for being a part and being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so let's first start off by you introducing us to the name of your book and giving us a little bit of background about it.
So the name of my book is When the Vision Dies, and it really is my story, a part of my story, because we have so many stories, right? But it's a part of my story, but it is also based on the story of the Shunammite woman that's found in 2 Kings chapter 4, where she was promised by the man of God, by the prophet Elisha, to receive a son, and she receives the son, and the son grows up, and then he dies. And so I walk people, really visionaries, leaders, creatives, business owners, anybody who's really ever had a dream or a vision. I walk them through her story of how she had a vision, had a dream, had a promise from the Lord that didn't work out the way she thought it would, and just really using her story to walk us through the process of how to recover when you have a vision that doesn't work out the way you thought it would, or when the vision seemingly dies or fails, and your promise doesn't look like what God said. How do you recover from that? How do you move past that? Because a lot of people talk about how to get going with vision, but nobody really talks about what to do if the vision doesn't work out. How do you recover from it? So that's where that stems from, and it comes from my own personal experiences, with visions that didn't go the way that I thought, and how I had to recover from that and learn how to move forward. And so I intertwine my story with the story of the Shunammite woman, and I just walk people through the process.
Wow, wow. I love how you address that as far as how you may have a vision, it may be delayed, it may not come to fruition. How do you deal with that? Because that can be a big blow to a person, because you have this vision and then you're like, it's not coming to fruition. So being able to address that elephant in the room, a lot of people have that. And a lot of people do not talk about it,
Yeah.
on how it may have been delayed a couple of years. It may have been something that maybe you may have not been ready for, that God may have said you're not ready for this because of some of the choices or decisions that you've made in your life, and it's been delayed. Or he may have given you something greater than what he gave you before, right? So how do you deal with that? How do you recover from that? How do you start to work on the visions that he has for you now? So I'm glad that you addressed that and gave us a little bit of background on how that also intertwined with your story, because sometimes it's good to hear from others how that happened to them and what steps that they took to
Right.
kind of
Right.
get back into it, right? So thank you for that. Have you run into people who have had the same experiences as far as not seeing their vision come into fruition? And what has been some of the pros and cons to that you've seen?
You know, I've actually run into a lot of people. I've connected with a lot of people who have had this experience. And it really made me grateful for being obedient to write the book, to tell my story, because I'm not going to lie to you, it was a challenge. That book took me 10 years, and I'm a writer by profession. You just read it in my bio. So it wasn't the writing that I struggled with, it was the telling of my story. But as I told the story and as people began to read the book, so many people would tell me that um, they were happy that I shared my story because they had had either a similar or experience, or they were fighting with even trying to connect with their vision because of the fear of failure. What if this doesn't work out? What if this doesn't go the way what am I supposed to do with that? And which a lot of people battle with that. But I really wanted to talk to people who had the pain of, I did the work. I put it all together. I built it. I didn't have any problems getting started. I didn't have any problems going through the process of building it, but it still did not work out. It's kind of like if you build a house and then the house burns down. Like, you know what I mean? It's one thing to never start the house. It's another to watch it crumble after you put in all the work. And how do you get past that? So I was really grateful to find a lot of people that needed that book. They needed that story. They needed to hear that, you know what, I can recover from this. Just because it looks like this right now, it doesn't mean it has to stay this way. Just because this is my story right now, it doesn't mean it has to stay this way. And I talk about that in the book with the Shunammite woman. When her son came to her, when they brought her son to her, it was because he was sick. He wasn't feeling well. He had a headache. And after being with her and her tending to him for some time, he died right there on her lap. And in the book, I talk about how, look, I can't give it all away because they just got to go get the book. But I will say that at that moment, that was like a moment of decision, because when he died right there on her lap, she could have, fallen out and broken down. She could have immediately gone to go get her husband and say, the baby is dead. We gotta go, let's plan the funeral. She didn't do any of that. The next thing she did was she lifted the son up, took him up to the prophet's room, and then she went to go get the prophet. And so just using that story and understanding that we really don't have to end when the vision does. We really don't have to stop right when it looks like everything's falling apart. We really can recover. we really can go through that journey. It might be challenging, it might be hard, it might be painful, because it's kind of like, the death of something is the death of a child. In her case, the death of something you have taken the time to birth and labor and work hard for, and it dies. You can stay in depression or you can move forward. And some people fall into a depression not realizing that there is hope on the other side of that. Your vision may have, been temporarily stopped, but you can recover. You can keep moving forward. There is something on the other side of that. And so, yes, I've met a lot of people that have, had that experience.
Okay, wow. Thank you for sharing that. Who would you say that would benefit from getting this book?
I believe really anyone who has had a vision or a dream, a goal, a promise that they have received from the Lord, that it didn't work out the way they thought that it would. Someone who maybe started a business and the business failed, or someone who maybe tried to start a ministry and then the ministry didn't work out, or they tried to write a book and never really finished, or they tried to write the book and then didn't sell any copies. So things like that, that something a person has tried to do, or they did it rather. Let me not say tried, but they did it, and then it didn't go the way they thought it would. It didn't work out. Even a marriage, things like that. So really, anyone. I wrote it specifically for visionaries, leaders, business owners, but really, it's for anybody who has had a vision or a promise from God, and then it didn't go the way they thought it would. It failed or it died.
Mhm. I love that because a lot of times people think that because a book is titled a certain way or it's talking about a certain thing, it can help you in different areas, like you say, marriage or fail something that's been failed, right? That's labeled that you've labeled as this is a failure.
Right.
Like having a book like this and just getting different perspectives, sometimes that helps lift you from that
Yes.
depressing or even that questioning of yourself and who you are, right? So I'm glad that you're actually marketing this towards people from all different backgrounds who have had experiences. So thank you for that. How are you getting this book out? How are you marketing the book?
So, that is such a great question because right after I wrote this book, I ended up being a part of another book project that I did. It was kind of just, kind of fell into my lap. The opportunity did. And so I ended up kind of promoting both at the same time because within about a 5 month time frame, I was a two-time author. It took me 10 years to write the one book, and then now I have two. And so, um, but there's a few ways. So one, social media, especially when the book first came out. And even let me back up because my author coach, Tamika Sims, who is the bomb, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for her, I don't think that we would have When the Vision Dies. So she was really instrumental in helping me to push the book out. And one thing that she was telling me throughout the process of me writing the book was you got to market the book before it comes out. Like a lot of people wait till they write the book and then now, hey, I have a book. And she said that, you really want to bring people along your journey, particularly my book, because my book was part of my story. So it wasn't hard to share my story or share my journey because it was my story. And so she really encouraged me to share pieces along the way. So I did. So that kind of pulled people in and connected people to, okay, now I can't wait to read this book when it comes out because I've been dropping little snippets along the way. I was showing little behind the scenes of me up late at night writing and my Bible open and me at the coffee shop drinking coffee and writing, things like that. I just kind of brought people into my world as I was writing this book, so that when it did come out, now it's like, oh, here's the finished product. Let me get it. So it's not just people buying a book because they love me. They're buying it because they really want to see what's on the inside of it. The other thing that I've done is I try to look for different events and, like conferences and things like that maybe connect to what the book is about. So things for like visionaries, or maybe some type of you know, uh, leadership, things like that, that would connect with what this book is about. And, try to go and, I have, put in to be a speaker at these events, or, so different speaking engagements, tables, things like that, where I can kind of set up my product. And so usually when I go to speak at different places, I'll, have my books along to sell, there. Another way I do it, social media is really a really powerful tool. And so, I don't do it as much as I should, but I'm certainly about to start doing it even more. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. But just putting it out there. And when the book first came out, I did do things where I would like drop little tidbits of the book. So I would like do a little graphic that had maybe a quote from the book that would kind of draw you in, just enough for you to want to go and get the book yourself. I would go live and talk about different chapters from the book, different segments in the book, maybe a certain concept or something that I talk about in the book. We would go live and talk about it. But starting next year, I'm planning a book tour, because I do think that this is a story that people need, in a way that I haven't really promoted yet and put it out there yet. So I really want to reach more people with this story, particularly now, because after COVID and just so many other things, and just the way life has just happened over the last few years, I have found even more people who were in this space of, okay, I tried that and it didn't work out, and now I don't know what to do, because I'm pretty sure that's what God told me to do and it failed. And so they're in that space. And so I want to help more people. And so I'm planning a book tour, a lot of book signing events and things like that. And really just talking about it every chance I get. I mean, I am, a preacher. So, I use it in sermons. I use it when I'm talking on the morning show that you mentioned. And just in my kind of everyday conversation, I'm always talking about the book, because vision is kind of one of my platforms that I speak about. So I just love talking about vision.
Wow, I love that. So this book itself is something that people definitely can benefit and be blessed by. But then you also have some upcoming projects that I want you to talk about, so that we can also tap into that.
Absolutely. So one of the things that you mentioned, which I think is one of my favorite things that I have going on right now, is that I am the executive producer of a morning show, the Empowered Morning Show, and we're on every Monday through Friday on Facebook and YouTube. And so I have that going on, and we're coming to the end of our third season, and we're getting ready to go into our fourth season at the top of the year, and we'll be celebrating our 1 year anniversary. So it's kind of a big deal for us. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's a big deal. And so, like I said, I talk about the book on that platform, but there's so many other things that we discuss. So I really enjoy that. In addition to the Empowered Morning Show, I am also the executive producer and creative director for the We Empower Network, which was kind of born out of the Empowered Morning Show. That show kind of stemmed into more shows, which stemmed into more shows, which stemmed into a network of about 20 something shows now that we have that produce regular content throughout the week. And so I have that going on, and we have a lot of great things coming up. We're looking to expand our content, expand our audience, and expand our reach in 2024. So I'm going to be working on that. I have the book tour that's coming up, and I might go ahead and say that there may or may not be another play coming in 2024. I can't let the cat out of the bag just yet, but there may or may not be another show from. And look, I need to update that bio, because it says the worst factor, but that's changed now to Vision Now Production. So there may or may not be another play stemming from Vision Now Productions coming up. So I have a lot of things going on in the next year.
Yes, I love it. All those visions coming into fruition. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So, if someone wants to contact you to get more information on how they can work with you, or how they can also purchase what you have or invest in what you have, how can we contact you?
So that's easy because everything is on my website, which is www.terryhicks.com. So that's TerryeHicks.com. So all of my social media is on there, and I'm very big on social media. So you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at Terry Y Hicks. Terry Y Hicks everywhere, and so I'm always on there doing something. So you can connect to me that way. But on my website, you can get to all parts of me. You can get to the book. You can get to me on social media. I do consultations, so people can schedule meetings and consultations with me on my website as well.
Wow. You have definitely provided us with a lot of great information. And I think this is definitely going to bless the community because a lot of times we don't know how to recover when something has failed. So thank you again, Terry Hicks, for coming on and talking about your book and just letting us know everything that you have to offer within what you do. We really appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me come on and be a part of this amazing platform that you have for authors. It's an amazing opportunity for authors to get to share their story and talk about their book. So thank you for creating the opportunity.
You are welcome. Well, again, thank you all for attending Author Spotlight. You all go out and support Terry Y. Hicks. I will have all the information provided for you so that you can do so. And until next time, bye.